pointing. He's pointing.
No, it's your teammate. We're giving the car back.
Scat, little car.
Over the past 6 months, I've been working on a project that I'm super excited to finally share with all of you. I bought a really cheap E39 touring sport wagon. Yes, that's right, the same wagon used by the Berlin Polizei in Germany from around 2001 through 2005. Right before a blizzard hit us last February, I saw this wagon listed for sale on Craigslist. The seller, Will, is a huge BMW enthusiast, but he just didn't have the time to restore this car. On top of that, he needed it out of his parking spot before the snow came. I paid only $900 for the car as a result. I then brought it home where it sat behind my E32 out in the snowstorm. If you've been around here a while, you'll know I'm no stranger to bringing home dirt cheap E39s in need of rescue and sinking all of my free time and money into them. Since then, this touring has received countless hours of work, all of which I'll be detailing here soon. Okay, so here's the car. Let's take a walk around and take a look at the car before I do any work to it. It's a little dirty, a little crunchy. There are some leaves and some surface rust here and there. You might notice there's a battery charger sitting in the engine compartment, and that's because I found out this car had a drain on the battery, which turned out to be a bad internal part on the DSP amplifier. There's a few dents here on the driver fender, some rust. The driver side mirror on the front door is also smashed off. On the positive side, this car does have a relatively rare option of the rear roller sun blind package, and most of these wagons don't have that, especially not in the lower 525i trim. I think that's more common in the 540, which is like the higher end Highline model. We have some bottle caps and some dirt and change here. Always a good idea to carry a butter knife with you in your wagon. Overall, the general condition of this car was quite poor and disgusting. The leather was severely worn, and you can tell this car took a lot of abuse over time, as most wagons do. Super cool though to see all of the space in here, especially if you've never seen a wagon in person. It's very cool to see how much cargo space you have, and yeah, you just don't see these every day on the road. Very few of these cars were made, something around maybe 5,400, right around the same amount of E30 M3s as the same amount 525 Tourings that were manufactured, which is very low when you compare that to the regular sedan, which is in the maybe hundreds of thousands. Here is the battery compartment on the side, opened up, and there is the subwoofer for the DSP sound system hanging out, bunch of stuff that needed to be put back together. The rear wiper arm was also missing, and you can see there's some extensive rust in the typical wagon places right between the rear glass and the rear hatch. This is a very common place for rust to form. I think it's because of the design and how water sits in between those two pieces. And here's the headliner. You can see the speakers in the roof in the back, which is pretty cool. Your standard E30 sedan does not have speakers in the roof, I can assure you that. And here's a close-up on that nasty rust. Now, if you find a rust-free, like a completely rust-free tailgate as a replacement, they do go for quite a bit of money, anywhere from $500 to $1,000, depending on the condition. There's a little bit of rust bubbling on the passenger side quarter here. Again, some faded door handle pulls, which is typical, and also some rust on that rocker panel. No cracks in the windshield though, that was replaced not too long ago at BMW. And the hood is also smashed in the front. As you can see, there's no shortage of projects waiting for this car. Now, the first thing I do to all my cars when I buy a new one is immediately change the oil, and I recommend you do the same. The next thing I do is change all 6 spark plugs, or 8 if you have a V8, with NGK made in Japan spark plugs. NGK are the best spark plugs to buy in my opinion and in my experience, but buy the ones that you like. One of the more annoying repairs on an E36, E46, and E39 sedan is replacing a side mirror. On the E39 sedan, the door panel and the trim and the weather stripping has to be removed in order to access the bolts to remove the side mirror, which is super frustrating because it's quite a lot of work to do a simple replacement of your side mirror. A couple of quick smacks to the door panel to get the plastic clips seated, and we're good to go. The next thing I found out about this car was that the fan clutch was seized onto the water pump, and no matter what I did, I could not get that fan clutch to loosen. So I brought in the big gun, quite literally. This is an air gun with a special tool that blasts a 32mm wrench to attempt to loosen up the fan clutch. Let's hook up the air and give it a shot. Not even hundreds of foot-pounds of torque and an air tool would work, so I had to resort to basically replacing the entire cooling system, which you'll see in a later video, and I had no choice but to remove the water pump and the fan clutch together. And finally, one of the most fun parts of buying a dirty old car is giving it its first wash and detailing. And of course, I had my 2 favorite helpers with me to help, which was, if I'm honest, really just a supervisory capacity. Stay tuned for episode 2 of this series, where I continue working on the interior. And I take a special road trip to a state where nobody really wants to go, New Jersey, to pick up some rare and hard to find parts to help me complete the restoration of this car. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. If this was interesting and you want to continue to support this channel, please click the like button, subscribe, leave me a comment below. That helps with YouTube's algorithm and helps this video get seen by more people, so I can continue bringing you videos like this one. As always, thanks for watching, and see you guys in the next one.